Welcome to Cardinals Cover 2 with Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki. Cardinals Cover 2 is brought to you by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcasts. From the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, here's Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki.
Yes, it's a homecoming. Also, the additions of linebacker Terrell Suggs and quarterback Brett Hundley do fill needs here in 2019. As we say, good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of Cards Cover 2 here on this Thursday. The deals announced officially. Terrell Suggs, 1-year deal. Brett Hundley, 1-year deal. And yes, MJ, they are now officially Arizona Cardinals. 2 players from Chandler, Arizona, coming back to now play for their hometown team.
Yeah, I was singing to myself earlier, coming home, coming
Please don't
home.
Sing.
I know.
Okay,
but,
good.
I mean, you normally don't get this. Obviously, you know, we talked about Terrell Suggs, 16 years ago. But, hey, I think he's got something left. You know, you and I were talking about Freeney earlier and what he did in 11 weeks. How many sacks?
8 sacks in 11 games when he was here as a 35-year-old. And remember, he came in October, so benefit of no offseason, no training camp, and still produced.
Yeah, and you look at John Abraham when they signed him. Now, you know, you start looking at Freeney's numbers. His last stop obviously fell off the cliff, and that happens, Father Time. But I want to see this team move him around. Now, they still haven't addressed possibly the D-line, and they're obviously working on that. That can come from the draft, but you got Brooks Reed. Now you got Suggs over there, and then you got Chandler Jones, and we look at some of the other options they may bring in here. So I think they should move him around. But if he gets 30 to 35 snaps, now they're going to say he's a situational pass rusher. But as for Brooks Reed and Suggs, they can also seal the edge and do a really good job in the run game, and we know that was an issue last year.
Well, Suggs last season with the Baltimore Ravens, 72% of the snaps, defensive snaps, he was on the field and had 7 sacks. You just look over his last 3 seasons following that Achilles tendon injury, 8 sacks, 11 sacks, and again, 7 sacks, those 3 seasons since 2015. So, and I'm sure he'll be motivated to come home as well. Yeah, it was a long time in Baltimore, 16 seasons, but for him now to play in front of family and friends, I'm sure he's looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing him just, the whole suspense going into the draft. Did he think he was coming here? And listen, let's be honest, Ozzie Newsome has done a great job. He recently retired. And the Ravens, they find a guy like, Jonathan Ogden early in the draft, and then they find Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and you throw in T. Sizzle there. I mean, Ozzie Newsome knew what he was doing on draft day. And the fact that they were able to take him 10th overall pick, and I think the rest is history. He is going to be a Hall of Famer, but I'm glad he's going to wear the Cardinal red. I really am. And you go back to his days at Hamilton where he was a running back. I think he wore number 42. 48. I think he
42 at Hamilton, 48 at Arizona State.
48 at Arizona State. So, I mean, there's some numbers in the 50s that are available. I don't think he's going to wear Ray Lewis's number. So maybe he's going to go back to high school or even college. High school would be 42, college would be 48. So, again, I like to pick up, and I think he's a good locker room guy. I think he's colorful, and he could be a jokester at times. So I think he'll fit right in with this team. Now, they have lost some leadership. You obviously look at Antoine Bethea, and even take a guy, Rashad Johnson a few years ago, Gerard Powers, but I do think he'll provide some leadership in there. And again, I think he's going to be motivated to say, hey, listen, it's a business, but maybe Baltimore let me go 1 year early. And he made a heck of a career there. It was well paid, well respected. So it'll be interesting to see his motivation coming here and still want to put up numbers. Who says that this is going to be his final year in the NFL? I mean, a lot of times the teams tell you that, but maybe he wants to make that decision on his own.
We'll hear from Suggs and Brett Hundley at the bottom of the hour, but right now let's hear from Lisa Matthews and Darren Urban on the acquisition, the signing, I guess I should say, of Terrell Suggs.
Let's go!
Well, it's official. Terrell Suggs is coming home. The Hamilton High and ASU standout is returning to the Valley to play for the Arizona Cardinals, a 1-year deal. He'll be turning 37 in October, but still has a lot left in the tank.
Well, I know you were probably in grade school at the time, but my first reaction was the fact that this team could have drafted him in 2003, and I was covering the team at the time and was thinking that that was a very real possibility. They obviously did not do that. And so I thought it was kind of cool that all these years later, Terrell Suggs is going to get a chance to play for the Cardinals, at least for one season. And I do think he's going to help this team. He had 7 sacks last season. I think he helps the pass rush. It's not just a, hey, let's bring an older guy back for one last run in his hometown. I think it will help this defense.
The Cardinals have had success in the past with guys like Carlos Dansby, Dwight Freeney. Not only what they do on the field, but their presence, the voice in the locker room. So what can Terrell Suggs bring to this defense?
Well, in all honesty, I don't know Terrell Suggs really well. He's been in Baltimore for 16 years, but I will say that everything that we've heard about him is that he's not only a great locker room presence, but he works really hard at his craft, and that stuff trickles down. And that does mean something to younger players when they see a guy like that working. Again, if Terrell Suggs has some juice left in the tank, and it looks like he does, and you add what he can bring to the locker room, that's a pretty big deal for a team that's trying to shift things from a 3-win season.
Let's go! Terrell Suggs, former Rookie of the Year, a 7-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year, and, of course, a Super Bowl champion as well. He signs a 1-year contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Also, Brett Hundley in the fold, a quarterback who last season was with the Seattle Seahawks, drafted by the Green Bay Packers. He, too, coming back, went to Chandler High School, but here is another player that fills a need, backup quarterback, certainly after the release of Mike Glennon.
Yeah, and the Cardinals actually liked him coming out of college. Obviously, it didn't work out, and so he goes to the Green Bay Packers. He backs up Aaron Rodgers, and then last year he was traded, I want to say, because this is the first time he's been a free agent, and he backs up Russell Wilson. So those are really 2 good quarterbacks, and I think it fits. I look at his skill set. I think it fits Josh Rosen. Obviously guys that played in a similar system at UCLA, they both can run the RPOs. They both like to run a little bit, not to get in danger, but try to pick up a first down. So I think the skill set, and who knows what's going to happen with the first overall pick in the draft, whether it's Rosen or Murray. But I'm just saying, when I look at him, he reminds me of Josh Rosen a little bit.
15 games played, including 9 starts. All 9 of those came in 2017 when Aaron Rodgers was hurt with the Packers, and Hundley went 3-6, completed 61% of his passes for 1,679 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions.
The only problem I had, because I watched a couple of those games, they had the handcuffs on him. They didn't want him to make mistakes, so he was Mr. Checkdown, and you can't go into a game, and I thought Deshaun Kaiser was in a similar role in Cleveland. He should have never been the guy initially. And this is, you lose confidence. And so he was going back to pass, and they told him, your first look, get rid of it. I get what they were trying to do. Maybe just have him be a game manager. But sometimes you got to let the quarterback do what he does best. So I thought he was Mr. Checkdown there. Honestly, hope we don't see him, but if he does come in, he does have some experience.
And some mobility,
yes.
More mobility than Glennon had. Of course, the Cardinals, when he was here, talking about Mike Glennon, they didn't ask him to do that, but now with this new offense with Kingsbury and, of course, what they want to do offensively, perhaps that's probably more the skill set they're looking for in a quarterback.
Yeah, I thought Glennon was perfect because he was more Sam Bradford. And listen, we can knock Glennon, but when he came in the game, he drove this team down the field. Now, obviously, probably playing prevent, but Rosen was in a similar situation, obviously inexperienced. So when you bring in Bradford, I know Steve Keim and Bruce Arians loved Mike Glennon when he came out of NC State. Maybe it's the NC State connection, but they were thrilled to get him. Obviously, he got a chance to play in Chicago and was benched early there behind Mitch Trubisky. But I like the fact that when he came in, he did a nice job. But I think you're starting to see the trend here. You need a mobile quarterback, not a stationary, Statue of Liberty quarterback in the pocket.
It is a special edition of Cards Cover 2 here on this Thursday afternoon as we broadcast from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, and doing so in our Bose QC35s. Go to Bose.com for more information. Right now, let's hear from Brett Hundley, the newest member of the Arizona Cardinals.
Good.
Welcome back.
I know. Glad to be back, man. Glad to be back home. First, I'd like to introduce to my mother and my father are here, April Hundley and Brett Hundley Sr. So, yeah, back home, and can't wait to get rolling.
How did this come about? Just kind of take us through it.
It's crazy. At first, I was coming here to surprise my family just to be back in Arizona. Just say, hey, I'm back for a visit for a week, and then I was going to head back to Seattle, see what happens from there. But as soon as I landed, I got a call from my agent saying, hey, everything worked out. You're good to go, green light. And so, like, my surprise, like, hey, I'm coming back for a week, turned into, like, hey, I'm, like, coming back for good, you know. So it was an awesome phone call, awesome, you know, it's an awesome opportunity for me to be back here and be back home. You know, I'm really excited and really can't wait to start going.
How much was this kind of always the goal in the back of your mind to get back home?
It's, you know, it's always one of those surreal things that you think about, like, man, wouldn't it be cool to, like, go back home and play for the Cardinals? You know, obviously getting drafted to the Packers and to Seattle, coming back to the West Coast last year, I was like, man, I'm pretty close at least. You know, it's not too bad of a flight instead of going to Wisconsin for my family. But, yeah, just it's surreal, you know. You always think about it growing up, you know, freaking going to Chandler High School, you know, playing ball there and now, like, playing for the Cardinals, you know. It's unbelievable.
Can you take us through how the surprise went?
So it actually got ruined. Yeah, it did. So I was supposed to, like, you know, my mom was flying with me, so I was telling her, like, hey, you know, okay. So my mom was in on the surprise, but I was going to surprise my dad and my sister. We're all here and my whole family. And I was talking to my agent when everything, he was like, it's a green light. And I was like, okay, cool. Hey, if you could just tell him, like, don't release it, you know, like, or just keep it on the hush right now. You know, obviously we're going to sign and I'll tell everybody there. I'll have, you know, my family and stuff. And so he was like, oh, okay, no problem at all. And so I'm like, all right, perfect. Like, so I hang up the phone and, like, no joke, 10 minutes later, I look on Instagram and, like, I see, like, all these notifications. And I'm like, man, it's not like I posted a picture just, you know, seconds. So I'm like, man, something had to happen big. And then I look at, like, a tagged photo and it was like breaking news. And I was like, man, I can't believe it. And then my man Bruce Cooper back there, you ruined it for my dad. I'll let you know that right now, man. He was the one that ruined it for my dad. I'm not going to let you live that down, man. He had called my pops, and then as soon as I saw it on Instagram, my dad had called me, and then it ruined, like, all the surprise of me coming back to Arizona. I was like, well, I'm here now. I'm driving to the house, and that was going to be another surprise. So, yeah, all that got ruined. All that got ruined.
What do you like about this opportunity other than being at home?
The offense. I think that's first and foremost. The offense fits me. It's something I've been wanting to play in for a long time, and I can't wait to get going. You know, something I've played in with Noah Mazzoni. Noah, if you're watching, I love you, man. This offense is going to be fun, and you know, and not only to play in this offense, but to play with the Packers for 3 years, learn that offense, to play with Seattle last year, learn that offense, get a grasp, all the knowledge I've gained to finally come back and play in this offense and play in it now knowing everything else I know, I can't wait.
How much have you learned from those two quarterbacks at those two organizations you played with? Green Bay?
Yeah, a lot. A lot more, honestly. I mean, on the field, you can see just in mechanics and stuff. I mean, I learned a lot from Green Bay, and they sort of broke everything down and all the throwing mechanics, everything. I learned a lot there, and just sort of how to dissect the game, how to study it, how to approach it, how to be a professional, and learning, working with Aaron, you know, and Russ. Those are, you know, two brothers of mine at this point. It really helps. They showed me a lot. They've, you know, not only on the field but off the field really is where a lot of the learning happens. Learning how to prepare, learning how to study, learning what it takes to be a professional quarterback and a good one. And so just being around that, you know, you soak up a lot. Sometimes it's not even about what they say. It's just watching them, what they do, and that's the biggest thing.
Quite a few former high school stars on the team, Captain Kirk and DJ and Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
Do you know any of those guys, and what's it like seeing from high school to now to all you guys being on the same team?
Yeah, it's crazy, honestly, because you know, we're all from here, so now it's like, man, was this like planned to bring everybody from Arizona back? You know, it's unbelievable, but it's a cool experience because, you know, since we're all from Arizona, we sort of know of each other. We know each other. You know, I've seen probably Suggs too much on the field. I probably want to see him more off the field and when we played him for the Ravens. But, you know, a lot of the guys, it's fun just to sort of be back here, and you have a mutual connection. You know a lot about Arizona. So it's just an awesome opportunity for all of us to be back and playing.
This offense and what you liked, how would you describe it?
I mean, you would put it as a spread offense. And just the tempo of it, I think, getting the ball out of your hands, like letting the playmakers do what they do best. We bring them here for a reason, get it out our hands so we don't get hit, and letting them make plays. I think that's the best part of this offense. Up tempo, fast pace, and that's what I like doing.
What's your favorite memory of watching the Cardinals growing up?
Probably the Super Bowl. Kurt is an awesome friend of mine, and I remember, that was probably one of the coolest memories of mine watching.
How much did you learn from your time at Green Bay?
A lot. I had a good time at Green Bay, 3 years there, and I think for me that's sort of where I got my foundation at, and I'll always have that, no matter where I go now. I got my base there. I think they sort of molded me into what, they do a great job at it, honestly. The quarterback school isn't the quarterback school for anything. They do a good job sort of teaching you the foundations and everything from footwork to how to throw the ball, everything. So it was an awesome time there.
You, Terrell, already joked about the Chandler Hamilton thing?
Yes. Yeah. I've never beat him, so I'm going to say that right now. I probably can't say too much about the Chandler Hamilton rivalry, but now I can say a lot. So so I'm good now.
What did the Cardinals tell you about your role here? What do they perceive?
Just competing. I think that's the name of the game. I think anywhere I go, no matter the situation, even in Green Bay, even in Seattle, my job is to compete. Try to play, be on the field as much as possible. Try to get the starting role. That doesn't change no matter where I'm at, where I'm playing, who I'm playing against, who I'm competing against, even Aaron. My job is the same. And I think that's what you want. You don't want somebody to come in and expect to be second or third. We don't play this game for that. I don't. And so my job is just to compete the best I can do and show the coaches that in this offense I can flourish and hopefully get an opportunity.
How well do you know Josh?
I know him really well. I was just talking to him yesterday. It's my dog. So, yeah. So me and Josh are pretty close.
What are your takeaways on Russell Wilson after a season with him?
Unbelievable guy. He's a brother of mine as well. I love him to death. Great man. Obviously, everybody knows he's an awesome football player. I can go on and on about that. He's a professional. He does what he needs to do. He's there early to late, but off the field is where he's just phenomenal. Just an awesome man in every aspect. Unbelievable guy.
Can you talk more about your relationship with Josh?
Both went to UCLA, so you just get to know each other. And, we've always been in contact. He was one of the first guys I talked to when I signed. So we've known each other like that.
How much is it going to help you that you're going to learn a new system with him who you've known for a while and have a...
It's cool. It's nice coming into a system like this and then also coming into a system knowing not only Josh, but, a lot of different guys, so it's not like I'm coming in new and just sort of not really know anybody. I know a good amount of people. Like I said, I'm from here, so it feels like home, and I think that it feels comfortable. The staff seems amazing, and I can't wait to see how this thing goes.
Brett, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Well, drafted in the 5th round by the Green Bay Packers out of UCLA, the former Chandler High School standout Brett Hundley meeting the media here as we continue on this special edition of Cards Cover 2 from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center. Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki now awaiting the words of Terrell Suggs, his first Q&A with the media after signing a 1-year contract. Hundley all smiles, as to be expected, MJ, because, as he said it, this feels like home, and he called it surreal, being able to play for that hometown NFL team after growing up watching. He brought up the Super Bowl. Kurt Warner, good friends, mentioned Josh Rosen, of course, the UCLA connection between those two, now sharing a locker room and competing for that starting job.
Yeah, I'm always impressed when guys, you could see how happy they are. Now, obviously, when you get drafted, you have no choice. And growing up in Arizona and playing at UCLA, you probably thought Green Bay, they got Aaron Rodgers, I'm never going to play. And it's cold. And then he goes to Seattle. So I don't know if you can find, besides Brady and Breeze maybe, I don't know if you can find two other quarterbacks that you could just sit there and watch. And you see how hard they work. And you always hear, they taught me what it's like to be a professional. And Larry says that Emmitt Smith was one of those guys about wearing suits after the game. All the eyes and lights are always on you, so make sure you're, prim and proper. So, but I'm excited that he thinks this fits the system. I mean, obviously the spread offense We're going to hear the word air raid, but there's going to be a lot of RPO concepts. So sounds like a good fit, and I'm glad the Cardinals, the other name out there was Tyrod Taylor. He decided to go to the Los Angeles Chargers, for the Cardinals to get him. And again, they liked him coming out of the draft. I know ASU recruited him, but he decided to go to UCLA. So a lot of good things about him, and I like the fact that he's a veteran guy. He's got some starts under his belt. It's not like everything's going to be, too big for him. And the fact that he's going to learn everything with Josh and whoever Charles Kanoff at the same time, I think that will be beneficial to all three guys, especially Tom Clements, the passing game coordinator and the quarterback's coach.
Yeah, he mentioned that offense, quote, fits me as far as spreading the ball out. But in his words, and we've been talking about it throughout since Kingsbury and Tom Clements were on board, get that ball out of the quarterback's hands ASAP, because you've got playmakers on the field. Get them in space and let them do the work as opposed to the quarterback trying to get chunk play after chunk play. Let a Larry Fitzgerald, a David Johnson, get them doing what they've best known about doing.
Well, I could say this. I mean, the fact is that if you look at the offense, we've talked about it, and I'm not guessing here. It's an educated opinion. They get rid of the ball within 5 to 7 yards of the line of scrimmage in 2.5.
Don't mean to cut you off, MJ, but Terrell Suggs has stepped in front of the microphone. Let's hear from T. Suggs.
You had always thought you would retire as a leader. What happened that brought you here?
Because I'm not retiring. But no, I had to make the decision, to come back and play a couple more years or whatever I got left, you know what I'm saying? And felt like if I wasn't going to be in a Ravens jersey, there's only one place I was going to be playing. So, and here we are.
Did they make you an offer?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It made me a handsome offer, but it was just time. It was just time, that organization, that team is, very special and dear to me, but so is the Valley of the Sun. So, it feels good to be wearing Cardinal red now.
So why one out over the other? Why Arizona was the choice over?
I'm sorry?
Why did Arizona win you over?
Because this is home. This is home. This is home for me. It's always been my home since 1996. I'm not sure if y'all know this, but I've always lived here in the off season. I've always been here, so I've always kind of kept an eye on the team, even from all the way from Baltimore. So, yeah. Like I said, if I wasn't gonna be playing in Baltimore, I was gonna be in Cardinal red. So.
Having said that, how nice would it be to finish your career on a high note and helping this franchise?
That's why we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're here. We're expecting some good things. And that's why I'm here. We didn't come here to just kind of waste time. None of us have time to waste. So I think I'm very fortunate to be a part of this group, this young group, and it's exciting. So.
Did the fact that Baltimore lost some guys you played a long time with kind of factor in your decision?
A little bit, but like I said, it was just time to turn the page, so to say, and. They're doing some things over there, and they feel that that's good for them. You know what I'm saying? And this organization's here. I think we're making some pieces. We're making some moves that kind of go in a different direction here too as well. So.
Was there a certain point in time when you thought that becoming a Cardinal would be a realistic chance? Was it just this year?
Oh no, it's been a couple times. Like I said, if I wasn't playing in Baltimore, Arizona always had kind of first dibs. So, but now it's that dream has become a reality. So I get to play for my hometown team.
What was it like playing over there for so many years and keep one eye on the Cardinals?
It was it was interesting. It was fun. Had highs, had lows. Just like every other organization, in the NFL. But I've had some kind of football guides that kind of mentor me, and prepare me for this stage of my career, so to say. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. Has returning here prompted you to reminisce about 16 years ago?
I've heard that a couple times. No, ain't no reminiscing. I think at the time it worked out for both organizations. I was a young man. I had been kind of catered to and spoiled. Coming from Hamilton, going to ASU, it was time to kind of go away from home and become a man type of thing. So I think it was necessary. I was disappointed then, but here today is the show that it all worked out in the end.
How much have you and Brett discussed the Chandler Hamilton?
We haven't, but it's gonna come up here soon, especially since they've won it the past couple of years, and but we're gonna address that when the time is right.
When last season ended, did you think you'd still be in Baltimore?
I wasn't sure. I kind of felt like it was an 80% chance that I would still be in Baltimore, but I also knew I was realistic with myself. There was a possibility that I could leave, but after weighing my options and after everything that's happened, like I said, I just felt like it was time to kind of turn the page, and here we are.
Does it mean anything to you that this team is going to play in Baltimore this year?
No, not at the moment. But I am human. I'm pretty sure week of is going to get a little exciting. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a little curiosity. But it's a long way from now, so I ain't going to worry about it now.
What do you like about the defense?
What's not to like? You got a couple of guys that's kind of special, 21, 55. It's going to be it's very exciting. It's very exciting, to be lining up next to a few, line up with some all pros, it's going to be exciting, like I said.
Speaking of 55, what are you going to do there?
Yeah.
He's been wearing it. It's his. You know what I'm saying? It's his. Now, if he come, if the roles were reversed, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he would have to find another number too. So that's his number. He's been doing great, doing great with it. So it's his. So I'm gonna have to find something else.
What are you thinking?
Do I want to tell y'all now? I have an idea, man. I think we'll just wait. We'll wait and just unveil it and kind of let y'all see it. But it ain't too much difference.
Obvious question for athlete is 36.
Yeah.
What do you have left?
I guess we're gonna find out. I'm excited to find out. So let's see. Let's see how much we got left. We ain't gonna cap it. So
When did the Cardinals contact you or you and your agent? How long did those talks take?
I don't think they took too long. What's it, Thursday? So Monday. So it was a talk. Let's watch some tape, and all right, let's do it. So.
How many other teams are interested?
I don't know. I wasn't an agent. I don't take those calls. I pay a guy to do that. His name's Joel Siegel. Y'all can ask him. But apparently a few teams called him, and he was like, "Sis, if you wasn't playing in Baltimore, where would you be?" And I'm on that team now.
How important is it for you to move up the career sacks list with some great players?
Oh yeah. That's sort of important. Right now, W's is pretty much the number one thing on the agenda right now. Let's rack up some W's, and we can get all those other things as we truck along. So.
What's the dynamic like? You come from a place 16 years and John Harbaugh, same coach, and now there's a lot of change here.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching staff, a lot of moving parts, quarterback. Having the number one pick in the draft and all of that. Is that exciting for you? Or
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. Change can be scary, but also necessary. So it's very exciting. The possibilities it's very fun. It's very fun. It's amazing what a breath of fresh air can kind of do to revive you, so to say. So I think everyone looking forward to it, to see what this organization and this team can do.
Are you a guy that thinks you can still play 65, 70 snaps a game?
Say that again?
Are you a guy that still can play 65, 70 snaps a game, or do you?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out.
How much of your role is going to be setting a tone, leadership, sort of culture in that locker room?
I'm just I was brought in to kind of have a veteran in the locker room just to kind of help the young guys out. And like I said, and we're gonna have to we're at ground zero, the way I say it, and we're just gonna have to do some work. We're on the ground floor, so you know what I'm saying, and it's gonna be very interesting just to get to work. You know, we're ready to work and be excited. So, you know, what I mean, as a veteran guy that's going into his 17th year, I'm gonna just try to help my teammates as much as I can, kind of grow and help us become a team as fast as we can.
Do you feel any different you have? What's allowed you to keep doing it at a high level, from drive, to move, to experience, to walk to?
Well, I really couldn't answer that question fairly. You know, I have a lot of reasons why. You know, I think the main one is that I still love ball. I've always loved football, and football was never very difficult for me. It was kind of the dieting and everything else, but you know, so we got in a hold of that. And so it's just, I love, I just love the game. I just love to play it.
On the field, do you have to do anything differently now compared to in your athletic prime, or is it all kind of the same thing?
It's all football. Football don't change. It's just football. So it's, just play football, baby.
Can you get double-digit sacks?
We're going to find out. I'm going to have to beat that other guy. He's been doing it for a couple of years. Maybe he can help me, you know what I'm saying? He's been doing it for a couple of years in a row now. So, but that's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. It's going to be exciting, exciting, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to be fun to play with Chandler and DJ and Pat P. So it's like I said, change can be scary but necessary, and it's going to be fun.
What do you think the attitude of the defense is going to be then, given all those names?
It's gonna be fun. Like I said, we just right now, I think it's just we just more focused on the work and becoming a team. So we got until September to kind of find out who and what we are. So and nobody really get to determine that but us. So.
Had you turned down the Baltimore offer before accepting this one, or were you still contemplating both?
I was still contemplating. I didn't turn it down. It was like I just waited kind of until the last hour to make my decision, and in the 9th hour I decided to come home and like I said, join this organization, join this team.
What was it like telling people close to you you were coming back to Arizona?
What was it like? I don't know. They was just like, what are you gonna do? And I couldn't answer it fairly. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like I said, I kind of waited to the last minute to make my decision, and I think they all found out just like everybody else found out. So I didn't really tell anybody.
How hard was that to make that decision?
It was very difficult. It was very difficult, to leave a place or a team that you've been part of for so long, for 16 years, and kind of go explore the unknown. It was difficult, but like I said, necessary. I think I'm very confident on this decision, and I feel like I've made the right one.
Do a lot of people recognize you around here, around town?
Yeah, but it was not more as a football player, but kind of as a hometown boy that went to ASU. I think I'm more known for playing at ASU than I was in Baltimore. So.
How long could you play this game?
I don't know. I mean, we can play it. I wish I could play it as long as a guy in Boston, but he played a different position than me. So, but we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. The only thing we're focusing on right now is the now. So.
Terrell, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, been a pleasure. Looking forward to y'all. Oh, that was your phone. I was gonna take that.
Terrell Suggs wearing an Arizona Cardinals hat. Just looks a little bit weird, I got to be honest, after 16 seasons watching him in a Baltimore Ravens uniform, but now wearing an Arizona Cardinals baseball hat, soon to be a uniform. And, of course, as he mentioned it, because you and I, MJ, have talked about it off air and even on air as far as, okay, Chandler Jones wears 55. Well, Terrell Suggs wore 55 in Baltimore. But as he said, what was the word? It's his. Talking about Chandler Jones. So
you were
Suggs has got to wear a different number.
You were telling me, Chandler will give it up for 1 year.
You know what? If
money talks, though.
Well, hey, as we've known on this roster, there are a couple of guys that are very particular about their uniform numbers. So I wouldn't put it past a conversation, one or two, as far as what happens. But Certainly good to see Terrell Suggs, the former Chandler Hamilton High standout,
Coming home.
excelled at Arizona State, where he had 24 sacks his senior season, and, of course, a first-round draft pick of the Baltimore Ravens. It's taken him 16 years, but now with the Arizona Cardinals, and Terrell Suggs joining us here on Cards Cover 2. First off, I'd say welcome back, but this has kind of always been home. You made that known during the press conference, but welcome to the Arizona Cardinals.
Thank you for my official welcome, man. I appreciate it and feeling the love. As you can see, I got on the Cardinal red.
I noticed that. Have you looked in the mirror as far as how different that looks because of the 16 seasons wearing Ravens colors?
Yeah, but it don't look that different.
Okay.
It don't look that different, so I can get used to it. We get used to it really fast.
With regards to the number, because I know there are several players around the NFL that are big on numbers, but you wouldn't say it, but I got a suggestion for you.
What you thinking?
What about number 48?
I've never liked 40 numbers on linebackers
There's a lot of 50s available.
There's a lot of 50s available, and there's some 90s.
Oh,
okay.
There's some 90s available.
Maybe 95?
So we're going to see.
Oh, I got a little smile there.
We are going to see. So.
All right, let's talk about your journey, because obviously we were all excited when you came out, and obviously the Cardinals made a decision,
right?
And Ozzie Newsome probably turned that card in really quick, and he's done a great job, and I hope he enjoys retirement.
Yeah.
But what was it like to hear your name called, just knowing you're going to a franchise? You get Ed Reed and Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden, and you're part of that mix, and you're going to be in the Hall of Fame with those guys. What was it like when your name was called?
When my name was called, you know what I'm saying, we got to address the elephant in the room. At first it was disappointment because the Cardinals had traded out of the pick. They had the 6th pick, and I was just like, there's no way in the world. I'm a hometown guy. There's no way in the world they're going to pass on me, but they did. So I don't know if y'all remember, it was really crazy. Teams kept losing their picks because they wasn't turning in.
The Vikings.
That's right.
Yeah, they wasn't turning in their picks, their cards fast enough. So I fell 10 to Baltimore after a few teams kept losing their pick. It was the Vikings; they kept losing their picks, like you said, and teams just kept jumping in front of them, submitting their card, and I fell to the Ravens, and all I can think of was like, all right, Ray Lewis is there, Ed Reed's there, Peter Boulware is there, at the time, Jonathan Ogden. Jamal Lewis, and I was just like, am I gonna fit in there?
Like a glove after it's all said and done.
After said and done, I fit in like a glove. Like, they did a good job of, kind of getting that Pac-10 prima donna. Oh, like, no, you're gonna be a man when you're gonna play with us. You're gonna play some real football. So it was very, like I said, it was disappointing at first that I failed and I didn't, initially come to the Cardinals, but it worked out in the end.
What did you learn from a guy like Mike McCrary and even Peter Boulware and Elvis Dumerville, guys that knew how to rush the passer? Maybe Mike was more of a D-line, but what did you learn from some of those guys?
Just to be a dog. They was very.
We need those.
Yeah, they was very physical, and they loved that. The part of the game was the physicality and just kind of impose your will on your opponent. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that early at 20, and they stay in your ear about it too. You know what I mean? So, and Elvis came later and played on the other side, and he had some tremendous success, and then it just goes to show a kind of the defensive culture there.
Those lessons that you learned in Baltimore, do you now find it upon yourself that it is up to you to carry that on and put in the Cardinals locker room as far as those young players defensively or even on the offensive side of the ball?
I believe so. I believe, the organization brought me in just to kind of have a veteran presence in the locker room and on the defensive side of the ball, and kind of, bring the young guys along. You know what I'm saying? This isn't, a Ravens locker room. You know what I'm saying? This is the Arizona Cardinals locker room. So, like I said, we have until now, to kind of become a team, and only we decide who and what we are. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to stand firm on that. So, and it's like I'm just honored to be a part of this team, and I'm really looking forward to it, meeting the rest of the guys and the guys I'm going to be going to war with.
I know it's very early in the process, but as far as defensive coordinator Vance Joseph and what you expect or what you might think that this defense might look like.
I think we have the opportunity to do some very special things, especially with the pieces on the back end, Chandler, you know what I mean, and, the young guys, the little young front we have. I think we got an opportunity to be special. And, the acquisitions that we made, it's just going to be, it's like I said, it's got the potential to be really fun.
I know you got to go, but I do want to show a picture.
Because
something
we're going to Pittsburgh this year.
Are we? This is coming back. This is something
We'll
that
go to Pittsburgh and
found online.
Wow.
That you have a new teammate, Marcus Gilbert.
Nice.
And this is a separation between the two of you that had to be done back in 2014. What do we know about Marcus Gilbert?
Wow. I know he's a fighter. He's a competitor. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely a good pickup. And he's going to be a good addition to our team. I'm glad to be his teammate. That's really good.
Terrell, appreciate it very much. We know the no love lost between those two teams, but a healthy respect as well. And again, welcome.
Thank you,
and
sir.
welcome
Thank
back
you.
to
Thank
Arizona.
You.
Terrell Suggs joining us here on Cards Cover 2, signs a 1-year contract. Yes, 16 years in the making, but Suggs
Who's counting?
Will be in a Cardinals uniform and on the Arizona Cardinals football field in 2019. And, of course, the Cardinals will play in Baltimore this season.
And
Pittsburgh, yes. So and he was asked about it during the press conference as far as the emotions as far as going back to Baltimore. And we'll have to wait and see when that game is scheduled. But it will be, I think, not now, but then when we get to that point, I think it will be very emotional for him.
And I think he gets a standing ovation. It wouldn't surprise me if they put something on the video board, the Jumbotron, because they cut him. He didn't jump ship, and obviously they wanted to retain him. But he thought at that point it was time to move on, and he's coming home here. So, listen, I look forward to we didn't get a chance to talk a little bit more X's and O's, but 2 shutdown corners, okay? Man-to-man press coverage on the outside. Swearinger and Buddha, who to me, one of the better young tandems in the league at that position. Then you throw in Brooks Reed, and you throw in Suggs here, and then Chandler Jones, and hopefully a healthy Robert Kimdichie, and then you got Reddick. And, we'll find out more about other signings. But for the most part, I mean, he's going to salivate. I mean, he's going to be licking his chops when it comes to rushing the quarterback because he's not going to be asked to drop back in coverage.
Well, and the other thing with regards to the edge rush, now Cardinal opponents, you have to account for Chandler Jones on whichever side, or if they move him back and forth. And that might free up a Suggs or a Brooks Reed as far as maybe a little bit healthier access to the quarterback because everyone's focused on figuring out where Jones is because he's got that double digits now run for a couple of seasons.
You know how I feel about sacks. I know that you go back to Freeney a couple years ago and even Chandler in the last couple of years, game-changing plays. Obviously, sacks are what these guys get paid for. But I'm more interested in hurries, pressures, and knockdowns because they lead to turnovers. And when you got a guy like Brooks Reed and Suggs on the outside, they're going to be able to seal the edge. We know that this team had struggled stopping the run. That's got to be the number one thing. Get them off the field on third down. Vance Joseph has already talked about first and second down are just as important as third. Let's put them in third and long. Now it's a passing down. We can start teeing off. So I think it's a natural fit. And, the fact is that feels like he can play on a couple more years. The Cardinals will love to have him. But the main thing is, He's well respected, and he'll fit right in with that locker room, even though we've lost some leaders over the last couple of years.
And just listening to the press conference, and then when he was here inside the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center here on Cards Cover 2, it sounded to me and that he was at a point in his, not career, maybe in his life, to where this was important to come back to Arizona and play for the hometown team, that this was time for a change. And he referenced that too, but just his voice is just, he wanted this maybe more so than the Cardinals wanted him. It seemed like just to me that,
I think it was a perfect marriage.
I'm sure there was mutual for both sides. It's just like, this is what he wanted. Like, I'm sure it would be okay to stay in Baltimore, but if I'm going to go somewhere else, I want it to be here.
Well, and I think it was Scott Bordeaux. One of his questions was, did your decision have something to do with they were getting rid of good players? Now, they went out and signed a running back. They went out and signed a safety. And listen, you got a new general manager in Eric DaCosta. He's taken over for Ozzie. So there's going to be some different evaluations of players. But I do think they'll welcome him with open arms. I anticipate he'll be on that conference call. He's not going to say anything bulletin board material. But again, as a Raven fan, the only thing you can do is thank him. I mean, you mentioned he won a Super Bowl, 132.5 sacks.
Correct.
That's amazing. So
229 games played.
Yeah, I mean, the credentials speak for themselves. So I'm just glad he's wearing Cardinal red finally.
Absolutely. And, of course, I'm sure one of the guys who are most happy that Suggs is now in the building would be Larry Fitzgerald. He's not the old guy anymore in the locker room. He's not. Look, that's big because he's no longer the old man. There's someone older.
Yeah, but
Phil Dawson last season.
Carson kind of had that until he left and retired. Yeah, but for the moment, Abraham, there was some guys that you try to squeeze out another year. Eric Winston, but I can see right now on Wednesday's injury report, no T Sizzle, no Larry Fitzgerald, Veterans Day off, because I think he had that in Baltimore, and that's how you preserve a body through the entire season. Obviously, you want them out there getting the game plan, which they usually get on Tuesday night or if not Wednesday morning, but he'll practice on Thursdays or Fridays, and he'll be fresh come game day. He plays with a lot of energy, and when he said that Mike McCrary, a really strong defensive lineman, Peter Boulware, linebacker, Elvis Dumerville, Ray Lewis, they had some dog in them. What did we talk about last year? They didn't have enough dog, and now they've acquired a couple guys. We heard how Brooks Reed practices, hair on fire. We know that Swearinger's going to lay the lumber. There's other guys on that defense that want to lay the lumber, like Kim Dichie if he's healthy. You add him to the mix. You don't want to have too many mouthpieces. I think some guys lead by example, and I think that's Larry, but you want to have some dogs on defense where they're willing to sacrifice their body for the team and a win.
Terrell Suggs trying to do what John Abraham, Dwight Freeney did when they joined the Cardinals. Abraham back in 2013, 11.5 sacks at the age of 35.
Wow.
Freeney, 8 sacks in 11 games at the age of 35 in 2015. Suggs is 36, turns 37 in October, but it is a one-year deal, yet he didn't sound like this was just a one-off for him in the NFL.
As long as he can stay healthy, I mean, it sounds like he wants this to be the final stop. But if he wants to continue to play, I mean, there's nothing like home. I mean, he's here. I'm sure his ticket request is going to go up, and obviously you got to make a decision there. But I don't see him going from city to city to pad his stats. I think that was the case with Emmett, even though I thought Emmett played better in the second year. Edger and James. Some guys come here to retire. I don't think that's the case. I think he wants, obviously, to get 7 to 10 sacks. But for the most part, I think he wants to play a couple more years. And if that's the case, and he's still productive, I mean, sign me up for 7 to 10 sacks. I mean, whether it's $1 million a sack or not, and he's making $7 million, so be it. I mean, that's what you're paying him for, to rush the passer and set the edge on the run game.
So it is official. Terrell Suggs, Brett Hundley, both Arizona Cardinals, Chandler natives coming to play for their hometown team, both signing one-year contracts, and those two moves made official here on this Thursday afternoon. Special edition here on Cards Cover 2. Appreciate everyone watching and listening, and a special thanks to those behind the scenes, Tim Delaney, Jim Almohandro, Felipe Corral Jr., Jackson Sipes, Mike Jurecki. I'm Craig Grialou. We'll see what's in store later this week. Cards Cover 2. We've got you covered here for any breaking news, because free agency, yes, the new league year underway in 2019.
You said this week. We're only on the air tomorrow.
I know.
So
the rest of the week.
We got a full show tomorrow, Grialou. Get ready.
I'm ready. We'll see what news still is to come here in this week. Here, we'll break it all down. This has been Cards Cover 2.